Hello, good morning and welcome to The Big Story, your weekly deep dive into issues shaping our nation's democracy. Today we turn our attention to Nigeria's electoral empire. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and its new helmsman, Professor Joash Ojo Amupitan, son. His appointment comes at a time when Nigerians are still grappling with the trust issues surrounding electoral processes. Questions about transparency, neutrality, and the true power of the ballot. But with a new chairman comes renewed expectations. Can Professor Amupitan chart a new course for credibility, or will INEC remain caught in the web of public skepticism? Samson Balogun is my name. Thank you for joining us. To understand the weight of this moment, we must look back. Over the years, INEC has had leaders whose tenures left distinct impressions, some inspiring, others controversial. Professor Amupitan Jega, appointed in 2010, is often remembered for introducing technological innovations like the card reader and for overseeing what many called Nigeria's freest and fairest election in 2015. His era earned respect, though not without its critics who accused the Commission of regional inconsistencies. Then came Professor Mahmood Yakubu, whose leadership saw the introduction of the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, and the INEC results viewing portal, IREV. While these innovations promised transparency, the 2023 general elections reopened old wounds of distrust, with observers citing irregularities and delays in result uploads. And before them, Professor Maurice Iwu presided over one of the most criticized elections in 2007, a process former President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua himself admitted was flawed. So here we are again as regards this. A new face, a familiar fear. Nigerians are asking, can Professor Amupitan rebuild the moral foundation of INEC and restore confidence in Nigeria's electoral integrity? Good morning once again. Thank you for joining us. To help us unpack this very big topic this morning is an APC chieftain. Of course, he's here with me in the studio. Honorable Omolaja Olawuyi. Good to have you in the studio.
Good morning to you, Samson. Very delighted for you having me here today. And good morning to you, viewer at home. Thanks for listening to us and watching us.
Okay, you had, the forward, how we came in on the show this morning. We went back in history, at least the last three INEC chairmen. We spoke about Maurice Iwu, spoke about Amupitan Jega, and most definitely the immediate past INEC chairman, Mahmood Yakubu. They all had different things their tenures will be remembered for. Mahmood Yakubu spearheaded IREV, brought about BVAS, bimodal voter registration, of course, voter's card. And then when you go back in history again, you talk about Amupitan Jega. These are people who brought technological innovations. But then, while one left with praise from people and not minding the fact that some other people also criticized him, and some other people, they left, and then they were criticized over and over again. Your complete overview of electoral system in Nigeria since inception, since you know of, and now, where are we?
Oh, thank you very much. It is so unfortunate that people talk about individual, they are not talking about the institution. Because without the institution, there is no individual that can be able to make much impact unless the institution is well fortified to be able to face all the challenges that is coming to that institution. Now, thank God, there is a progressivity in our electoral system, and it has been progressing all the time. An institution is open to a fault. What do we do as Nigerians to rectify it? And we have never been shy away. We have been rectifying the electoral system and their processes as well. So in Nigeria, it has been a development so far, according to what I know. Because some few years ago, like you are talking about when introduction of all these capturings was introduced, it was introduced flamboyantly, by President then Baba Obasanjo, and it wasn't. I mean, there is no reflection in our electoral system. That is why it was introduced in 2005, 2006, and with that, despite the fact that it was capturing, it was not this traditional using of voters' card to vote. Still, it was fought throughout in 2006, 2007. So since then, when late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua came and he saw this fault, he made sure that he constituted a kind of panel that is going to be able to go around Nigeria and try as much as possible hear from people and know how to fix all these challenges. Since then, we have been having those developments when you are talking about our electoral system.
Okay, now let's talk about the new INEC chairman. His nomination and eventual appointment has been greeted with mixed feelings, mixed reactions from different quarters. Now, what kind of reformer should he become to introduce trust to the people once again when we talk about INEC?
The mixed feelings is well expected. Nigerians we have been always that particular about trust all the time. Even when Angel is brought to be able to head INEC, they are still going to be able to vote him or her in one way or the other. So that is well expected. But now, all depend on Nigerians, all still depend on our legislator, how they can be able to make sure they fortify that electoral system that is going to be able to stand the test of today. And again, for any other INEC, there is no reformation an INEC is going to take without inviting all the parties in Nigeria. And they are going to be a contributor to it. Because with none of them, if they decide not to agree with INEC chair, it's not going to be able to partake it. It's quite unfortunate when all those things that have been introduced and contributed by different parties, they are always religious on it all the time. They always try to find one fault or the other. So that is what we are facing in Nigeria. It is not about Amupitan coming to head INEC. It's about the people themselves. Are they ready to trust the system? Are they ready to be a contributor to the system? Are they ready to be able to be very truthful in their analysis if things doesn't favor them? That is what we have on the table. It is not about any other thing. When you are talking about United States of America that has the very largest population, about 500 million people, we still have some challenges when it's come to the electoral system. We have seen a situation whereby, despite the fact that it is well captured, the technology was so fortified. Still, there are sometimes they went and can't buy manual system when they think there are some discrepancies. Is in the kind of district or the other. We saw what happened during the time of Agor and what's it called? The so-called former president of United States. I've forgotten the name. There was problem there, and they have to go and use manual system to count this to count vote. And the same thing happened during the time of President Trump against Biden. It was done as well in some country and in some states as well. So people have the right to challenge the INEC system, but at the end of the day, our court system really permitted you to be able to prove and tender all evidence you have in order to challenge any electoral system.
All right, there is one of the perceptions that the institution, INEC, for example, has not been able to shed in recent times is the fact that most Nigerians believe that change in leadership does not necessarily translate to change in attitude for INEC. Now, people still think that regardless of who comes on board, they still do not trust the institution. Now, what is the way forward? If Amupitan is here, what are the necessary things he has to put in place? And most definitely, what role does the federal government have to play in all of this?
Thank you. The INEC has no problem. To me,
is the institution faulty?
The institution is never faulty. It is the people that are not ready to trust anybody.
The Nigerians?
The Nigerians we're talking about. I'm not saying
Are you
that.
saying Nigerians are the fault?
I'm telling you, are
there an next problem?
Our politicians are always the fault most of the time. And whatever the media are spreading or they are disseminating to the people as well. Take for instance, you are talking about 2023 elections. When Labour Party went to court, they even didn't challenge that there was rigging. All they were saying, it was because when they are being, they were saying that there is discrepancies and anomalies. And again, the court expect them to bring those evidence to court of law. Now, for a political party, you must be represented in all polling units throughout Nigeria. When your people are there, all you have to do is coordinate. Your people should be able to give you the feedback that happen in different polling units. But a situation that a particular party has even about probably 40% or 45%
representations across polling units.
And you are still saying that the election is 40. How did that come to be? That's the problem. And you have seen those candidates who has been the beneficiary of the theft of electoral system in the past. Now they are always crying about they are being cheated or not.
Now let me bring your attention to this. Recently, former Minister of Interior, former Governor of Osun State came out and said, look, he is a beneficiary of electoral anomalies in the country, but things have to change. That was Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola. He made that claim just a few days ago and said, look, I'm a beneficiary of this, but this has to change. And he was commenting that over the appointment of Amupitan as the substantive INEC Chairman, and said, look, yes, you have come on board. There are changes you have to make.
Thank you very much. He hasn't told us the kind of changes that he expected. He has a chance to be able to go to Senate or any other place to be a reformer. He has been Interior Affairs Minister without any change in that ministry compared to what is happening right now. We have seen a lot of jailbreak when he was there. Now, a lot of them are always trying foul. We are known in the past. We are so many times we have seen strange names being put in our data system. You are talking about when you are talking about election, you are going to see the register. Abnormal name in the register. You have seen Mike Tyson being registered as one of the voters. You have seen Michael Jackson. You have seen Bobby Brown. You have seen a lot of funny names being injected into our election. Those people who are going to vote. And
whose fault is that?
Now, it is not, again, because you have to represent. Now, you are talking about the data system. Before the last election, before 2023, if your the card reader cannot be able to read your tongue, you are going to fill a kind of form. And they have seen that with this, a lot of election has been rigged in so many instances. So now, they are going to capture your name and your face or your tongue. If your tongue is not seen and your face is not seen, that means you are not going to vote. We have seen a situation that some states producing, and they can be able to produce about 1 million votes. But in 2023, a lot of them come down to probably about 300 or 400,000 votes. That's for you to know that in the past, we are having those challenges. But now, things are getting better. We are going to get better with time. It is not about a day. They are faulting the INEC for the fact that they are not being able to impute all those elections immediately from world level. And this, we all know that with the technology system that is going on in the world, those kind of things can be hacked at any time. And we must be very careful when we are doing things. In the last election, we have seen in a place like Osun State, whereby before that was 2022, in probably Olorun-Shogbo or Olorun-Da local government around Osogbo, about 2,000 votes was awarded to APC, and it was deducted. When they are tabling it, when they are coordinating and they are all the vote, and they saw the fault, and it was instantly deducted in the glass of the world. For you to see that the manual system, the way we are doing it, is one of the best, and now we are getting better. I am not saying there is no skirmish There's no problem in our election system. But those are the things we have to introduce. It is not that it is totally faulty.
Right. Now, let's talk about the new INEC chairman. If you look at his profile, he's a senior advocate of Nigeria. Do you think his background in law will help him strengthen that unit? I mean, INEC, talking about INEC.
I believe so. I believe so. And he's going to be able to introduce something.
You saw his profile.
I saw his profile.
Is he capable?
I believe he's capable because our election is about...
You have seen people who are capable get into the system and then they get swept away by the waters.
Now you are now talking about... Now that we are not talking about the law that's being used to be able to overturn the ills in our election.
Should we expect changes in the electoral bylaws?
I am expecting a lot of changes because I am telling you, I expect a lot of changes right from the party level. If you must be able to have a good and a sound electoral system, it must stand by the party level, because the way we elect and the way we bring out all our candidates is faulty. And the former Speaker of House of Rep really want to introduce direct primary. That is what former Gbajabiamila Amila, the Speaker of the House of Assembly, House of Representatives, want to do. If we can do this, those are the areas we must, any INEC chairman that is coming must be able to do an input through a National Assembly to be able to make some reform when you are talking about within the political party. Now, when you are talking about the INEC, it's always about people's fault. Some people are still in the ballot boxes. Are you expecting INEC that is going to be arresting them? Is the INEC going to be prosecuting them? When you are saying some people buy the vote, right from the so-called ward level or different polling unit, is it INEC that is going to take care of that as well? When you see some of the community introducing Oro during the time of election, is it the fault of the INEC? Those are not the fault of the INEC. A lot of things is being put on the table of the party and the people. Though it is us that are going to change our ways of life and know that things need to be done the right way.
All right, you mentioned vote reduction in some instances. Now, I want to ask you this question very quickly. Yes, it was true. From 2015 and 2019. In 2015, for example, states like River State in 2015 recorded 1.5 million votes, over 1.5 million votes. And by 2019, it fell to 624,000. And talking about Kano had over 2 million votes in 2015. And by 2019, they had about 1.9 million. Going down to Benue, all right? Okay, let me take Delta first. Delta had over 1.2 million in 2015, and by 2019, they had 815,000. Benue had 1.1 million in the year 2015. And by 2019, they had 768,000 votes. Now, the question I'm about to ask you is that, is it as a result of voter apathy or correction in the electoral system and malpractices?
It is about, the correction is about malpractice.
Don't you think people decided not to come out to vote?
No, it's not about apathy. People are always eager to vote all the time because you are going to see the distortion on the public places. That is how people have been inspired to vote when there is election. I am going to say to you that, are we not increasing in population? We are. Are we not having, unlike 2022, before the election, you can see that a lot of youth registered more than expected. And that's supposed to reflect in the election. But for the fact that before, a lot of anomalies is being done during the election. And these are reduced drastically well. That is why you see those reductions. It is not about people's voters' apathy. Voters' apathy has never, it wasn't the problem in the general election, during the general election. It might be during the by-election, but general election is always, people always coming and turning out on people.
But very quickly, let me say this. People have complained about people not coming out during elections, and that has been there for a long time. So I want to know where that claim that voter apathy is not the problem in the country is coming from. If you check the percentage of people who registered as voters and the number of people that has actually come out to vote, then you question what is happening in the country. Let me take, for example, in the year 2015, 68 million and registered voters. We had over 68 million voters. And voter turnout was around 43%. And in 2019, we had 84 million registered voters. The voter turnout was at 34.7%. And in 2023, we had 93 million voters, over 93 million voters, and it was just 26.7% people that came out to vote. And you said there is no voter party in the country.
Thank you. That is the way it always, even in advanced world. That is why a lot of things have been introduced, which has not been introduced in Nigeria. You are talking about some elderly who are probably about 70 years old, or probably because of health challenges, they cannot be able to vote. In a place like United States of America, you can do your voting by post. And they knew sometimes people felt discomforted during the election. They are going to vote probably about 2 weeks before election. It's been done. It's never been introduced in Nigeria. You must know that. And again, a lot of people change their addresses as well. There are some people who always take in voters card because they want to open a bank account or do it for identification purpose. No doubt about that. But when we are doing now, the INEC have introduced a kind of a system whereby if you have in a polling unit, you must not have probably more than 500 voters. It might be 3,000, 4,000. They are going to split it according to different polling units at that particular place in order not to discomfort people. The challenge people faces during election is being systematically is being systematically taken head on by INEC. That is why they introduce a polling unit. Probably it shouldn't be more than 500 people, and you will see a polling unit being divided into probably 5, 6 different polling units at the same time, and it's going to be easy for people to vote. These are the things they have to change, because people cannot just go out in the scorching sun and suffering themselves just because of vote. Those are the challenges the voters have.
Are you clamoring for changes in the voting structure in the country?
No. They are facing it all headlong. Who knows what is going to happen 2027? Like 2023, that is what it was done. And people are able, still, people find it difficult because they are still queued under the scorched sun. Very difficult for them. They should be able to find a way. Probably we can vote before election. Probably we can vote online. A kind of thing that is going to help people to vote, to find it easy to vote. That is what they should be able to introduce.
Now, turnout has steadily declined over each cycle of election in the country, from 43.7% in 2015 to 34.7% in 2019 and 26.7% in 2023. Now, meanwhile, number of registered voters has increased, ascending from 68.8 million in 2015 to 84.0 million in 2019 and 93.5 million in 2023. As we speak, should the new INEC chairman be worried about voter turnout come 2027?
Nigerians must be worried. The National Assembly must be worried. And the government themselves must be worried.
If the people fail to come out to vote, who benefits more?
It is not about... It happens everywhere in the world. I tell you...
What I'm saying, if people fail to come out to vote, who benefits more from this?
It is not about people, whatever people does. If millions come out, somebody is going to win. If 2 people comes out, somebody is going to win. And that is how it's always been for a very long time. I would give you an example. The first mayor of London, Ken Livingstone, when you have about 5 million registered voters in a place like London, and you see less than 200,000 people that came out to vote for Ken Livingstone. And when he won, he introduced a lot of reform that changed the face of London. It is everywhere in the world. But what we are now saying is that what makes people to be inconvenient, our electoral system must be done in a way that is going to help people to vote easily. People don't want to suffer to do anything. If you can come to the comfort of their home and make them to vote, they wouldn't mind. When people go on the field and they cannot vote for the next 4 or 5 hours, what do you expect? They'll just sit down in their home. They say, are they collecting money? So when you are talking about their party, is the cumbersome time nature during the election that people fears. They don't want to suffer. They believe whether they vote or not, it is not going to do anything to them. It is the people that we need to encourage for them to vote. That is why you see some politicians introducing money. So when people knew that they are coming and they are going to get 2,000, 3,000, they will come out. By all means. It's unfortunate, it's not right, but people still do it. So it was the cumbersome nature during the time of election that people fear. It's not that they don't want to come.
All right. Professor Atahiru Jaga's era was widely praised, and during 2015's general election, especially for the smooth transition and the credible transition in that area. Now, while Yakubu's tenure, Professor Mahmood Yakubu's tenure, was criticized for the 2023 general polls, what lessons do you think the new INEC Chairman, Professor Amupitan, should learn from all of this going into the 2027 general elections?
I don't think because of the way Amupitan Jaga conducted election, that is why people are praising. I think it was because of the nature, because of what transpired, what kind of nuisance some people created during the time.
You're talking about Orubebe.
Orubebe. That is why it was given a worldwide acknowledgement, and people can be able to see that our electional system is going, way better. And you are seeing the sitting president being defeated. It's one of the things as well, because of the things that have been introduced. But the so-called Mahmoud has been in the shadow for a very long time, and people that benefited from the past, they are making a mole out of the they make mountain out of the molehill. That is why a lot of things has been criticized about this gone INEC chairman. He has done his bit, and he has introduced a lot of things that we never expected, and we must give him a kudos. And the coming one is the one that we are the institution. We are the one that is going to introduce what it is better for our democratic system. It is not only there. So, and a lot of elections were overturned during the time of Atahiru Jega. A lot of elections are overturned as well. So that is what you have to know. So with this, I think we are going forward in Nigeria, and we are getting better.
Many believe that technology under Professor Mahmood Yakubu, like the Beavers, IREV, they were things that should have happened but poorly executed. Are you of the same school of thought?
I don't. We saw what happened. Let's give an example of Osun State. The time when the election was supposed to be closed, that is what it was. That wasn't the time it was closed. And you have never seen APC making a mountain out of the molehill.
People were still as a voting unit.
People are doing what?
They were still voting at the polling
which
units.
is wrong. And it was the Supreme Court that overturned it. The election should have been cancelled. Where there were overvoting, it doesn't suppose, according to our electoral law, it's supposed to be cancelled. Still, it was given to the PDP. And APC never make nothing out of the molehill. But you see, people that benefited from electoral fraud are the one that is criticizing the system. They never expected this president to win an election, and he won. He lost at his own side. Nobody talks about that. They never say that the kind of election that took up in Lagos is not well executed and it is not well conducted. That is for you to know that people who benefited from electoral fraud, they were the most who criticized a lot. Mahmoud Yakub has done his bit, and we must be able to mount on that and make sure that we have good electoral system in Nigeria.
Okay, with general elections fast approaching, what are the priorities Professor Amupitan should be focusing on as we speak? He just resumed office.
He cannot do it in isolation. He must consult all the political parties before he make a lot.
So his first point of approach should be consultation.
What I really want him to do is that he must make sure that he liaises with National Assembly and do electoral reform. Everything must start from the political party. Any political party that doesn't do primary must their candidates must be thrown out. Some people enjoy when they are the sole candidate. They don't want to suffer. They don't want to fight for a particular seat before they can be elected. So I think our focus should be on the internal democracy of all political parties, which is so faulty at the moment. That is what we must talk about. When we have those good electoral process in different political parties, you are talking about internal democracy, we are good to go in Nigeria.
Aside from the 1993 general elections, which some people claimed the winner was as clear as daylight in some quarters, Nigerians are still grappling with ineffectiveness when it comes to elections in the country. Do you think Nigeria is already on the path to a time where electoral results will be widely accepted?
With our notion, with our beliefs, we have that. The kind of trust problem in Nigeria, and it is going to be difficult for Nigerians to be able to trust even themselves when you are talking about election. They are still going to be complaining, but it's about fact. It's not about being sentiment or the notion we believe in. It's about the fact on the table. See, when the president administration, Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu, was taken to court, the court expected the party to prove its own cases. They must present evidence. They cannot be able to present evidence. All they were just doing is make you and cry and be able to take the Supreme Court to people's what's it called, to people's trial, and that is what they do. Every election can be challenged. We just have to prove our fact. I believe, because I have witnessed a different election where I've been driven out by cutlasses. They will not be, when they know that that polling unit is not favoring them. The opposition, not the opposition, the present government, they are going to send some people who are going to give them information, and they are going to make sure that those kind of polling units were being destroyed. And for you to know that we are growing. Anywhere there is fracas, they are going to make sure that they cancel that election. And when the result that was being presented cannot be able to be more than enough, or the one that has been cancelled, they will do that election again. For you to know that they are using what has happened in the past to be able to correct what is going to happen in the future.
Now, how do you think INEC should handle communication and trust, especially when it comes to the election, going forward to instill a level of to curb misinformation and restore engagement during the election?
Misinformation is being debated upon, and law is coming out right now. If you do any false information, you must be penalized. It is well entrenched in the Constitution that even all the media houses have the right to be able to disseminate information truthfully, even if it's going to hurt the government. But for anybody to be able to be disseminating information that is going to harm the government, that is not through, injurious, must be penalized. That is what they are going to do. It is not the way we are going to believe in the fallacy of the before, that there is free information. Free information, it is not the right to do something that is going to be contrary to the Constitution of Nigeria.
Lastly, if you were to give Professor Amupitan an advice this morning, what would that be?
Professor Amupitan must be able to work in synergy with all the political parties, and again, he must liaise himself with National Assembly members to be able to fortify our electoral system, most especially when you are talking about the political party internal democracy must be the first priority that they need to change. This has to be direct. Direct primary is what is being done in the United States of America, and we expected it to be introduced in Nigeria as well. So with this, I think you are going to see the dynamics of our electoral system if this is brought forth.
Honorable Omolaja Olawuyi, thank you for joining us in the studio this morning.
Thank you for having me.
It has been a wonderful session with you. Hope to have you some other time.
I'm looking forward.
Right. As the nation looks ahead to future elections, expectations are high and patience is thin. Professor Amupitan steps into an office that has tested reputations and defined legacies. Will he be remembered as the reformer who restored faith in the ballot, or as another custodian of the status quo? Time, as always, will tell. You have been watching The Big Story. I am Samson Balogun. Join us next time as we continue to examine the forces shaping our democracy, one story at a time.